Do you hear that? I don't know, maybe it's just me. Basically I wanted to make this little video, and I don't know why I'm being so utterly quiet about it, but then again it is nearly 4 AM. I wanted to make this video about comments, YouTube comments. Now, many people make many comments on YouTube videos and on people's profiles. I nearly said people's paedophiles then. Don't even want to get into that sort of discussion. Many people leave comments of all different kinds, and but some of the ones that stick out are some of the ones that people hate. I just thought I'd point them out because I hate them as well. Maybe you hate them too. And I'm actually happy there that I moved the right hand, which is actually my left hand. Because if I'd moved my right hand, which would be the wrong hand, you wouldn't see most of it. I've got to remember that the right side of the screen is actually the left side of my body, as I'm looking at it. It's not like a mirror image. It's sort of flipped around. It's weird. But every other way I use my camera does it the right way. Like if I'm doing a live video for YouTube or something weird, or if I'm on Skype. So there's a few different sorts of comments that I really hate, and you probably agree. Number one, the all-time worst comment ever posted on a video is the dreaded first thing. Somebody waits and waits and waits, constantly refreshing your profile until you've got a brand new video, then they immediately load it up, and before they even watched it, they post a comment that says, "First watching comment, haha," which sparks a horrible system, well, a brilliant system, of people saying, who gives this shit whether you were first or not? It just means you're a sad cunt who sat there waiting for this person to upload a new video. And I think I've actually said that to many people who have said it just means you're a sad cunt who sits there and waits for people to upload a new video. I've never put haha I'm the first comment on a video. I have mentioned that I was the first comment on a video. I put things like, "This video is hilarious, I can't believe I'm the first comment." Or I've said like, "This video has 50 views and 12 likes, why am I the first comment?" People liked it enough to watch it and like it, but no one thought to leave a message. So I've left that sort of comment, but I've never said haha first view and comment, blah 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 blah, because I think it's just it's childish, shallow and pedantic. And the next type of comment I really hate is when say you've got a video about the Legend of Zelda, and you've got the fight of Link versus Ganondorf, and like 8 people dislike the video for some reason, and then someone posts that comment, 8 people are Ganondorf fans, or 8 people didn't go to the Twilight World, or so many people who dislike this video are this or aren't this, or didn't do this or did this or whatever. It becomes like a running, well, I wouldn't say a running joke, but because it's not funny. It probably wasn't even funny the first time someone did it, so why are people still doing it on videos 5 or 6 years later? It's not funny. What's the point? It really isn't funny. It's only funny to the person that does it, but everyone else just thinks you're a douche. It's like that old saying, Jesus loves you, but everyone else thinks you're a cunt. the third most annoying comment I've ever seen is people watching gaming videos and complaining about spoilers. Someone posts something about what's going to happen, or just the person playing a game, happens to mention, something big's coming up or whatever, and then you get these blazing comments on it saying, "Oh, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler! Don't give away spoilers, blah blah blah! You're giving away the plot of the game." If you don't want to see a video because of spoilers, don't watch it. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to watch it. And if you don't like people's comments about spoilers, or people commenting, that could give something away, well then it's just tough shit. And what's really annoying about it is if you get like a game like Super Mario World, and someone complains about a spoiler in that. It's Super Mario World, it's been out for at least 10 years. If you haven't seen the end of it, then there's something wrong with you, something seriously wrong with you, so you shouldn't be complaining about spoilers on that sort of game. Like if you complain about spoilers about how you're going to, like how this person in this video is saying how the quick way to beat Robotnik is at the end of Green Hill Zone, or something, if you're complaining that that's the spoiler, there's something wrong with you. And just complaints about spoilers in general are just annoying. So the fourth most annoying comment I've ever seen is people turning a video, any video, into an excuse to start a religious, political or racially motivated argument. It could be a video about anything, really. I uploaded a video of The Pied Piper by Crispian St. Peters in commemoration of the fact that he died. And just because one or two of my pictures happen to be cartoon images of Barack Obama, which I didn't know at the time, someone's having a go at me about using Barack Obama pictures in a political way. They've moaned about it in a political way, and I'm just like, they just used him as pictures because he is depicted as a Pied Piper with a bunch of rats. That's why I picked the picture. It's nothing to do with the fact that it's Barack fucking Obama. And people will complain, people will start religious or racial or whatever or political debates about like Super Mario videos or Sonic the Hedgehog videos, Amnesia videos, Aliens vs Predator videos. There's a very famous Call of Duty one, where people, it was my Call of Duty video. The video, the Call of Duty The Flag Must Fall. People turned it into a discussion about which side in the war did the most raping and murdering and that sort of thing. And I think I flatly commented, can you not turn my video into a discussion about rape, please? And people will see anything, and they'll spot key words or key sentences and turn it into an excuse to make a big racial issue or a big religion issue or a big sort of political debate out of the smallest thing. If I happen to say that I prefer this mobile phone to Blackberries, somebody will take the word black and start a whole racial argument. Oh, you don't like Blackberries because you don't like black people, blah 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 blah. It's got nothing to do with the term black. I just don't like the phone Blackberries. But someone will be that petty and try to make it into a big political issue, and people will comment about it, and it becomes this long fuck off argument about racism or religion or politics on a video of something that's nothing to do with any of those things. And then you'll have a video about racism or religion or politics and nobody will even mention it. I don't get it. It's fucking stupid. And the fifth most annoying comment I've spotted on YouTube videos is people who complain about spelling and grammatical errors that other people make but in their comment complaining about it, they make spelling and grammatical errors themselves. Like, I recently complained about someone using the word loose to mean lose, because it's not lose, it's loose, the opposite of tight, but they've used it as the opposite of win, which is lose with one O, and I, complained and corrected it, like you do. But what I don't like is people who try to correct your speech, but then make mistakes themselves. Like if I'd said, no, you spell lose with one O, but then I made the mistake of spelling, like using the wrong form of the word pray, or I've used inquiry instead of inquiry, or I've used affect instead of effect, that sort of thing. If I'm complaining about a little mistake, and I've made a little mistake myself, it's a bit hypocritical, really. And people do that. People will complain about your spelling or your grammar. You haven't put a full stop here, you're missing a comma here, that should be a semicolon, not a proper colon, that should be in speech marks, blah 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 blah, and that they'll make certain grammatical errors themselves. And then when you point out the fact that they've made an error while telling you you've made an error, they sort of think you're being petty. Well, you're the one being petty in the first place, and you're being that petty and that simple-minded that you're making mistakes yourself while complaining about people making mistakes. I mean, that's like saying to someone, no, don't shoot yourself in the head with this gun because you'll die. And they do it anyway, and you go, see, I told you shouldn't point your gun at their head like this and pull the trigger. And you blow your head off as well. It's sheer ludicrous. It's utter stupidity, but people still do it. Now, not many people try to correct my speech when I write it down, because I always make sure I spell things correctly and I use the right word, if it's affect or effect and that sort of thing. One of the recent ones I spotted recently was people using the term ellipses to refer to full stops, or periods if you're American, although to English people a period is the 7 or 8 days that a woman spends losing blood from her pussy, not a dot that goes at the end of a sentence. Why you call them periods, I have no idea. Maybe because they're just as bloody annoying. Oh god, I haven't done that in a while. I used to walk around doing that a lot. I'll talk about that in a minute. But someone's complaining about ellipses, and I'm like, that's not what ellipses are. Ellipses are actually, an ellipse is actually a type of curve. It's got nothing to do with full stops at the end of sentences. A bunch of full stops at the end of sentences are not called ellipses. So why are you saying they are when they're not? So I've corrected this guy, and he's probably going to complain or whatever about it, and he's probably going to make some kind of spelling or grammatical error, which I'm then going to point out. But I always make sure I spell everything correctly. I try to make sure everything's perfectly punctuated. And if I do make a mistake, like if I've accidentally pressed the H twice, or I'm typing so fast that I don't press the G down hard enough, or whatever, whatever letter you might miss out while typing pretty fast, I will actually delete the entire comment and retype it. So if you spot a video where it says the comment by me, but this user has removed their comment, it's probably because I made a mistake. But it's a typo mistake. It's not like writing lose with 2 O's. That's a deliberate mistake. There's a difference. Accidental mistakes is you accidentally put 2 K's in brick, or you miss a C in recommendation. That's just, missing a C in recommendation is just down to stupidity. Or it could be down to the fact that you haven't pressed the C button hard enough the second time or whatever while you're typing, because you type so fast. We all like to type pretty quickly. Some of us type very quickly. I don't. I make more mistakes when typing left-handed, but that's besides the point. So I hate when people make obvious mistakes. I mean, the amount of people I've said lose is spelt with one O, not two, because that's loose, you fucking idiot. And people still spell lose with two O's. I've often corrected the misuse of the word affect and effect. There is a difference, they're not the same word. The same with enquiry and inquiry. They're different words with different meanings. I mean, this is the English language, and this is how the English language is. If you're butchering the English language, then you are at fault, basically. And people go, oh no, that's just how American English is. Well, you've said a key word there, you've said English. American English is the American version of English. And then you have this thing, this politically correct term, British English, which is just English, basically. I'm English and I speak English. The fact that I speak English as my main language, and the fact that I come from England, is both aspects that make me English. I'm not British in any way. And I'm sorry, YouTube and Google, but my country of residence is not the UK. The UK is not a country. And even my YouTube is set so that my language is English. And probably you watching this video, your language is probably set to English, whether you are English or American. English is English, and I don't like people butchering the English language. Now obviously it's perfectly fine if English people butcher the English language because it's our language. I don't agree with butchering the English language, whether you're English or not. Although I do use abbreviations and the shortening of words. I use words like don't, won't, can't, shouldn't. Sometimes instead of saying couldn't, I'll say cunt. I don't mean cunt as in you're a cunt. I mean cunt as in I just couldn't do it. That sort of thing. I mean couldn't, but I shorten it further. Other people do it, and we use the word in it a lot. In fact, that's become a staple of the English language at the moment. The word in it. Mainly the people who use it are the people who think it's cool to say it, and they are people between the ages of 12 and 16. So basically kids who want to sound cool, so they go around in it this, in it that, in it, Gangnam Style, in it, Gangnam Style. Hey, in it, lady, in it style, in it style. Yeah. But of course the word in it is not cool at all. It's not cool to say the word in it. It's just a way of shortening, isn't it? Which itself is a way of shortening, is it not? Oh yes, I mean that sounds a bit posh, really, doesn't it? You can imagine you sat there with your cup of tea. It's a beautiful day, is it not? In it. Yeah, it's a beautiful day, innit? And people use it in the wrong way as well. If you're going to use these words, use them in the right way, like noob. I can't stress this enough. The word noob, N-O-O-B, does not mean someone who is new to a game. Okay? It means two things. One, it's an elongated version of the word knob, as in you're a total noob. Fuck off, you noob head. That sort of thing. And second, it means someone who's shit at a game, Not someone who's new to a game, someone who's shit at a game. This is not someone who's new at a game. If you're going to use these words, use them correctly. So yes, init is not a cool word, it's just a way of shortening, isn't it? Or is it not? And people use it in such stupid ways. And people just say it as though that one word is a sentence, like, init. You know, it's like that. This is some good weed. And his mate turns to him and goes, init. Init's not a sentence. The correct thing to say there would be that. Yeah, it is, isn't it? For a while there was some speculation that the word init was going to be put in the dictionary, the Oxford English Dictionary. It takes a lot to get a word in the Oxford English Dictionary, and I don't think init is really going to be a very good word. So I really don't think they're going to stick init in it. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my 5 most annoying, well, what I think are the 5 most annoying comments that get put on YouTube. And lots of people do it, and lots of people complain about it, but no one seems to take it on board. You can complain about it to your heart's content, but someone's going to post first on one of your videos, someone's going to try and correct your spelling and make mistakes themselves, someone's going to do all this 23 dislikers, whatever, blah 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 blah, someone's going to complain about spoilers, and you know, and people are going to turn random videos into racial, religious or political debates. It doesn't matter how much you complain about it, it still happens. And I just don't get it. I mean, normally if you complain about something enough, it stops. But in the case of being an annoying twat on YouTube, it just carries on. It's like these people delight in being twats. It's like they wake up in the morning and go, well, what have I got to do today? I've got to feed the cat, I've got to buy some milk, I've got to watch those 4 episodes of Skins that I taped, I've got to be a twat on YouTube, then I've got to pack my suitcase ready to go on holiday. You can imagine them waking up and doing that, you know. Or maybe they all sit round in a group and just sort of say, what can we all do to be annoying today? I'm going to walk around holding up a big sign that says Bell End with an arrow, and I'm going to walk next to people. Oh yes, that's sure to annoy a few hundred people. What are you going to do? Well, I am thinking of posting a YouTube video saying everybody around the world is a dickhead. Wow, I mean that's sure to piss off 1,000 people at least. What are you going to do? Well, I am going to put haha first comment on people's videos for no reason. Oh yes, now that's going to piss off a hell of a lot of people if you do that. As if like you're going to sit around and do this. Oh, that leads me on to an advert. As stupid as that just sounded, there's an advert on a couple of years ago, 2 years ago to be exact, I think. Could have been 1 year, I don't know, I can't remember. It was, I think it was 3 women, it was women, definitely women. I think it's 3 women in a cafe or something, and they were having a weird conversation. And I think the conversation was either about tampons, panty liners, you know, bladder weakness, you know, something that a woman would keep very private, and you obviously wouldn't sit in a public place and discuss it with your friends. It'd be like me going to the pub with a couple of my male friends, and saying to them, "Oh, how many of you suffer from erectile dysfunction?" Because I do. I mean, like, you're not going to sit around and have that. I don't, by the way. Just to just to clarify that. But how many of you would actually sit around in a group and discuss that? Like if you're a man and you went to the pub with a bunch of your mates and you're sat there having a few drinks, like you do, watching the football or whatever, and one of you just happens to say, "I think about Margaret Thatcher when I'm having sex." You keep that sort of shit to yourself. So the idea that these 3 or 4 women are sat in a cafe talking about bladder weakness or whatever the fuck it was, is just pointless, because it would never happen. Like, no woman in their right mind is going to go to a cafe with 2 or 3 of their friends and sit there talking about their panty liners or their tampons or the fact that they have bladder weakness or whatever. You just don't do it. That's the sort of thing you keep to yourself, or you tell your doctor, if you're suffering from bladder weakness or whatever. But like problems with tampons, whatever, you keep to yourself. You don't. Well, you might tell your friend about it, your best friend. But you tell them privately. You won't sit in the middle of a crowded cafe and go, "Oh yes, I get terrible period pains." Or sometimes my tampon just falls out. No. you just don't sit. I've never known any woman who sits around and talks about private, personal things to all their friends in the public area. And saying that, I don't know any males who do it either. I mean, I thought I was weird enough. I mean, no, you might agree this is weird. I'm digressing from the issues of YouTube videos here, but random bollocks is random bollocks, isn't it? That's the whole point. I don't know if this is just me or if several men or even several women do it. I masturbate a lot. No, that's not. So I just said lots of men and lots of women do it. So I thought, slip in a masturbation joke. Oh dear. No, I don't know if you all do it. If it's just me or if a small group of people or even a large group of people do it. When I go to see a doctor, I don't give a shit what kind of doctor it is. I'm just telling them my problem and they're helping me. But if for whatever reason, I've never been to a doctor for anything like this, but if I ever went to the doctor because of like erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, the things that men worry about when it comes to their cocks and their balls and whatever, might have found a lump, what's this cheesy build up, and as a bit of seepage, whatever you go to the doctors as your problem, I would always find it better to talk about that sort of problem with a female doctor. I don't know why. So if I ever have any sort of problem, I mean I haven't yet and I hope I never will, but if I ever have any sort of problem with my cock, my balls, your private parts, I would feel better talking to a female doctor about it than a male. I don't know if there's other guys like that, or if there's girls like that. You don't want to talk about vaginal discharge or whatever it is. The possibility you might have herpes or I don't know whether you'd prefer to talk to a female doctor or a male one. I, for some reason, would prefer to talk about that sort of issue with a doctor of the opposite sex. I wouldn't feel comfortable sitting there with a male doctor and saying, I prematurely ejaculate. Or I have, or I've got, sometimes find it difficult to get or maintain an erection. I've never been to the doctor. I've never had that sort of issue, any of those issues really. But I'd feel better saying it to a female doctor than to a male one. Don't know why. So should that situation ever arise and I have some problem with my penis, or your cock, your dick, whatever you want to call it, willy, one-eyed monster, trouser snake, unicorn, whatever, your pocket rocket. Your pocket rocket just sounds so bad. Oh dear, would you like to have a look at my pocket rocket? Sounds like you got a firework stashed in your pocket. Well, it is ready to explode. No, I'm not even going there. Oh god. That's put an image in your head, doesn't it? Me exploding all over the place. I will say, when I come, it's not an explosion. Well, sometimes it is. I'm joking. I'm not even going to tell you what it's like when I come. If you want to know what it's like when I come, you go experience it for yourself. That sounds weird, doesn't it? I basically just told a shitload of women across the internet that I want to shag you. That's nothing new. I've told lots of people across the internet that I'd like to shag them. Women, of course. Everyone who knows me, and indeed everyone who doesn't know me, seems to notice one incredibly obvious factor. I'm a raging homosexual. No, I'm not. No, everyone who knows me, or has met me, or has even spoken to me online, have all pointed out, or not pointed out, but pointed out, yeah. But they've all noticed that I'm straight. I'm as straight as straight can be. In fact, I joke about it a lot because I do all these sort of stereotypical gay things. I talk with a voice like this, darling. And I often do this hand movement, and it's sort of like, and I really, if I was gay, I really could be a pretty good gay, I think. I'd obviously be, a giver than a receiver. Sounds like a telephone. But I don't know why, but people sort of associate this sort of voice with being gay. But I sort of associate it with Alex from one of the first series of Big Brother, because he used to talk like this, this, that and the other. There I am shortening the English language again. This, talk like that. But people seem to think you're gay if you talk like that. I don't know why. I've never met a gay person who talks like this. It's just stupid, really. And nobody gets on the phone and goes, "Oh yes, darling, well I'll be shagging my boyfriend tonight, so I can't come out to see you." People associate that voice with being gay. I don't know why. Yeah, and the stereotypical, apparently if you're gay, well, not gay, it's like, what's the speech marks about it, in quotation marks. Apparently if you're gay, you do a lot of this. So you remember the Limp Wrist Brigade, or whatever they call it. So I do a lot of the stereotypical things that people associate with being gay, but everyone immediately spots that I'm straight. And maybe it's the fact that I am straight that I won't talk about other men. I won't talk about other men. I won't talk about other men. You mention a man to me, I just clam up. No. I won't talk to other men about my penis and that sort of thing, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have, you know, I've spoken to, you know, like close friends about, you know, any sort of problems or concerns, not really problems, that I have regarding sex and whatever. But I've always found that it's easier for me to talk to a female. I can be more relaxed if I'm talking to a woman about sex and you know, and like if I ever had a problem with, you know, me dick or anything, you know, I'd feel better talking to a woman. Maybe some of you other guys are like that. Maybe some of you girls are like that. You'd prefer to talk to a man about it. Or maybe it's just me. You know, maybe I'm just weird. Well, I'm weird anyway. We're all weird in our own weird little ways. That's one of my catchphrases, actually. We're all weird in our own weird little ways. We all go a little crazy sometimes. But yeah, I just feel better talking to a woman about, you know, concerns about, you know, sexual health and whatever. It's like in Boston we had this place called Connections. Apparently they're all around the country. But for a few years during your life, up to like the age of like 17 or 18 or something, they will give you free condoms. They give you this little card called the C card, you know, the condom card, and you go in and you ask for some condoms, and they put the date down on the card, which I always thought was pointless, because like I want to keep a dated record of when I'm getting condoms. But you get the condoms for free, and I was always glad that the only people that seemed to work at the Connections I used to go to were women, because if I had to go in there and ask for condoms and it was a man, God, I wouldn't come out with the condoms, you know, I'd make some other excuse for wanting to talk and then leave it at that. So even when getting condoms, you know, it's obviously, you know, you're looking after yourself and your girl when it comes to sex, you know, reducing the risk of passing on or receiving STIs, STDs, and obviously reducing the risk of having a child. I'd still prefer it to be a woman. As like, I'm more comfortable walking up to a woman and saying, yeah, I've come for some condoms, than a man. I don't know why. I mean, am I just weird, or are other people like this? I do know quite a few people who have spoken to me over the years about issues. I won't go into too many details, but a lot of people spoke to me, especially across the internet, about problems they were having in their life, whether it would be stuff like being depressed, contemplating suicide, blah 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 blah, that sort of stuff, and wanting to know the best way to find out whether this girl fancies them or whatever, you know, and then more trivial ones like sex tips and like I had one guy who was very obsessed with now how do I word this? He hadn't been properly educated in the ways of biology, human biology, and then you know, when it comes to sexual matters, and you know, he wanted to know why his dick got hard every time he thought about this girl, because no one had ever told him. No one had ever said to him, you find a girl you like, and you really like her, you get erection. See, no one ever tells you these things. You just sort of learn them, and obviously he hadn't learnt, and no one and he hadn't thought to ask anyone previously, and he asked me. So I explained it as nicely as I could. So a lot of people, across the internet for quite some time, and it still happens now sometimes, people tell me their issues. I'm sort of like the things you get in your TV magazine in England. I don't know if you have them in America or not, or worldwide. We have this thing called agony ants. You basically write in with your problem, and they give you a solution. Like if you write in and you think your girlfriend's cheating on you, or you're having problems with getting an erection or whatever, and this person will, it's a very public thing, but obviously your full name isn't given. But and they gave you a very honest and frank response. So I sort of became a private internet version of that. Like, I didn't publicly announce what their issue was or my advice to them, and it's only advice. Whether or not they take my advice is up to them. I merely give it. Whether you actually take the advice is down to you. You're not going to piss me off if you don't take my advice. But a lot of people, more and more people, started talking to me about whatever problems they had. And of course, when you help them, they tell their friends. And if they ever have an issue, they ask you as well. And more people started asking me all sorts of things and pointing out their problems to me and whatever. And I still get the odd one now, but it seems to have died out. Maybe I've reached that age where I'm too old to know about the problems of young people, even though I experienced most of them probably myself. And a shitload of people have talked to me about them as well. Maybe there's other people like me out there who had lots of random strangers talking to them about their problems. It always filled me with a sense of, I wouldn't say happiness, but I felt good trying to help these people. And I felt even better when they told me a couple of weeks later, whatever advice I gave them worked. So it's sort of like, I'm really, really. It's really the opposite of depression. It really makes you incredibly happy to know that you've helped so many people. And I still got the odd one now. Every so often, people contemplating suicide or whatever, and I, help them as best I can. I've never heard of. All the people that come to me saying they were thinking about killing themselves, I've never, given them advice and then heard that, they've killed themselves. Everyone I've spoken to has always carried on living, as far as I know. That's why it's always best when they tell you later that your advice was good or whatever, because you go, you're still alive. Thank God for that. You wouldn't think it would really matter to me if a random stranger kills himself or not. But the mere thought that they've talked to you, so you're now involved, and what you say can be a bearing on whether they actually kill themselves or not. It's like, it's a pretty big thing, and you can't just shrug it off. You can't give them the advice and go, well, he'll probably kill himself anyway, because that's not a very nice thing to think. And if they actually do kill themselves, then you hate yourself for it. mean, you hate yourself anyway, because obviously your advice didn't work. But yeah. But I've never sat around in a large group with my friends and discussed personal, private things. I've never gone to the pub with a couple of my... I mean, I used to play in a pool team that were... I think they were mainly males. I think they were all males, actually. We've never sat around the table and discussed erectile dysfunction or whatever. You know, but I don't think many women go out in a large group, sit in cafes, drinking coffee or whatever, talking about period pains and bladder weaknesses and whatever. So it was just a stupid advert. And it always made me think, why don't they, if they're going to make an advert like that, at least make it a little more real. Like the recent one to do with doctors. They made one to do with telling your doctor about problems with his shit. Not to put too much of a point on it. Although if he's got a point on it, there's something wrong with you if your shit's got a point on it. You know, like telling your doctor about like if you're going for a poo more often, or it's really loose, or there's a bit of blood in it, you know, because it could be the first signs of bowel cancer. And the way they've presented that advert is actually quite good. And then like the doctor, the guy at the end, says to the camera, "I don't care how you tell me, just tell me." You know, and that's a good way of presenting it. You wouldn't sit round in a large group and saying, "Yes, well, I often have a bit of shit in my poo, a bit of blood in my shit." Do you? You don't go to the pub and you go, "I often have some blood in my shit," because that's not something you do in polite conversation. So these women sitting around in a cafe talking about whatever it was they were talking about just seemed stupid to me, because it just wouldn't happen. And it always just annoyed me. And there's lots of things that just really annoy a lot of people. Like memes, or whatever you want to call them, you know. Like the famous sayings that people say, like on computer games or whatever, that just become part of like the small elite group of people online. Like lots of people use that over 9,000 quote from Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, like you're watching a video of someone playing Unreal Tournament and you get 5-6 headshots in a row or something, and someone posts a comment saying your attack power was over 9,000. And it's like, that really annoys me when people, like, I don't mind people using them, but only in the right context. You know, I mean, it's the attack power is over 9,000, but people go, your nerdiness is over 9,000. You know, Stephen Hawking is alright because his IQ is over 9,000. It doesn't make sense. What are these people talking about? I recently posted the over 9,000 comment on a video as well, recently. I don't remember what it was. Does it still tell you on your YouTube profile information what comments you've made on videos and what video it was that you commented on? Or does that only pop up on your home page under subscriptions? basically you can pop along and find all the things that I've been talking about. I'm gonna see if I can find. It's gonna take longer than today. I'm gonna see if I can find the advert of the women sitting around talking about bladder weakness or whatever the hell it was. That might take me a while because I don't even know what they're talking about first. If I can find out what the advert was for, it'd be a lot easier to find. I'll see if I can find that advert. Do tell me if if my top 5 most annoying comments that I've seen on YouTube videos are also your annoying comments on YouTube. Do you hate people who make that sort of comment? Or are you one of those people that makes that sort of comment and then wonder why you get so much shit about it? And have you ever do you prefer to talk to a doctor of the opposite sex when it comes to your private parts? Don't know why I'm saying your private parts now. I've been saying dick, cock, balls and whatever, pussy. Your private parts. Are you one of these people that wants to talk to a member of the opposite sex about it when it comes to doctors and that sort of thing? Would you sit round in a large group with your friends and talk about erectile dysfunction or bladder weakness or the fact that you have a little bit of blood in your shit sometimes? Would you feel comfortable telling your doctor that? Really? Would you feel comfortable telling anyone that? And of course, last but not least, if you do have an issue, a concern, or a problem that you feel I could help you with, or you're just looking for a bit of advice about anything, whether it be relationships, sex, hygiene, whatever, feel free to ask me. Obviously you won't want to post that as a comment because I don't think you want it publicly announced, so yeah, feel free to send me a message or that sort of thing. I'll always try to be honest and frank, and I won't be all coy about it. I'll just be very upfront. One thing a lot of people know about me is that I'm nearly always an honest person, and I'm especially honest when it comes to giving advice and things, because I think if you're not going to give honest advice, then what's the point in giving advice in the first place? If you're not going to give your actual honest thoughts, then you're basically just wasting your breath and wasting your time and wasting their time. So if you're going to give your opinion on something, be honest about it. And one extra note: if you want to do any videos with me, like a co-commentary on a game via Skype or whatever, trying to get the hang of the screen sharing thing, then feel free to leave me a comment or send me a message, and we'll arrange to do something. Obviously, if you're not in England, we have to take into account the time differential, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And also, if you want to play any multiplayer games with me, then feel free to suggest that as well. I'm always open to people wanting to play with me. That sounded so wrong. I'm always open to. Never mind. I'm not even gonna go down that road. But yes, so thank you for watching this very weird edition of Random Bollocks, and I'll see you all again soon. Rock on, Tommy.